So again, let's take a quick tour around our wonderful factory here as we move on to the next slide. So this is, on my final slide, I'm going to finish off some of the longer term implications of all of this. So the first point is about business travel, which I think will reduce possibly dramatically. People will use online platforms and carry out home working much more instead, and obviously to avoid the risk of infection, but also to argue more productive. I think that will mean also that deals can be renegotiated via procurement. So obvious ones around transport like trains, planes, automobiles, but also the use of hotels and ancillary services, all kinds of services, but also even things like air miles. What's the future of those schemes, for example? Workplace health and well-being will go much higher up the agenda, no longer be a nice to have as it's considered in many organisations. See an increase in the use of the employee assistance programs. Many more organisations may consider employing medical staff, company doctors, occupational health professionals to lend a direct hand in managing the physical and mental health of the workforce. I think also on the physical side, helping employees to maybe sponsor them to go to gyms or even have a gym on site for larger employers, but to become more resilient through training and coaching, and to have more awareness of their mental health and perhaps provide more counselling and coaching. I think in general, managers have found that their approach has become more employee focused. As we've all been using platforms like Zoom, we've got to know people's homes, their families, their kids, so often interrupt, even pets. And the emphasis has been very much on line managers getting to know their teams as individuals on a much more real basis, and not just consider them to be human resources. Policies will have to be revised in a number of cases. I've mentioned obviously flexible working and GDPR. There's also, of course, travel and expenses. But things like sickness absence and shielding will become much more prevalent in sickness policies. That will need more training for people, though, to understand the policies, and certain line managers to be able to manage them for their people, but to basically deal with home working, performance management remotely, and the use of technology. And the final point is around the shift in moving away from expensive city centre offices to perhaps more regional hubs, which may be set up for people who can't necessarily spend all their time working from home, to use space more flexibly, and perhaps we'll see an increase in the volume of requirements with flexible space providers like WeWork. So lots of longer term implications to take into account. At this point, I'm going to hand over to Kay.